Hi everyone, welcome to Sunya IS. In this lecture, we are starting with the new part of our Modern Indian History series. And in this lecture, we will discuss the new strategies after the civil disobedience movement. Okay, so first of all, guys, please let me know if I'm live, if it is working fine from your side. And in case there is anything, you can discuss that with me in the comment box. If you have any doubts from the last class, please let me know. Fine. So today, guys, we need to understand that future strategy was in making. Why? Because in the second round table conference, Congress and Britishers, they sat together. They came together on the same table on the equal front, but nothing happened. And Gandhiji was feeling very disgusted that due to his wrong strategy, maybe he was not able to save the civil disobedience movement, the energy, and of course, the life of Bhagat Singh. Now, after the withdrawal of CDM, civil disobedience movement, because it was on hold during the second roundtable conference, there are two-stage debates. Okay, two-stage debate on future strategy of nationalists. First stage was on the course of national movement in the immediate future. Means if we want to start a national movement, so how it could be. Okay, and the second stage was about 1937, which was about the office acceptance in context of provincial elections. Congress wanted to participate and they got majority of seats in 1937 election. But they wanted to have 2 points in their mind very clear. So, in the first stage, they started the national movement. So, the first stage debate is immediate future, means phase of non mass struggle. There, Gandhiji wanted to do constructive work and they wanted to engage with the people, like meeting public and discussing their problems, discussing their doubts. These things were there. So, constructive work were going on and it was on the Gandhian lines. Constitution struggle and election to central legislature. They wanted to participate in it. So, yes, Congress and other leaders were ready for it and they wanted to have elections, okay, to the central legislature so that they can make the law. And Nehruji was in left, resumed non-constitutionalist mass struggle because he wanted to, go with the same energy and zeal, and that's why he wanted to do in a very non-constitutional way. Nehru criticized the STS thing. He was saying that this is not the right strategy to achieve anything. What you guys are doing, you start something, you start a struggle, and then you take a break when you feel like getting disbanded, when you feel like getting faded out, when you see the repressions coming from the Britishers, the truce period starts and then you struggle again. No, there would be no ending. What's the future of this STS? We should struggle, then we should win, and then we should struggle again. It should be independent struggle. So the strategy which he offered was struggle and victory, and then no more struggle. Only struggle and then victory. Struggle to get the victory. This was his strategy. Finally, yes to council entry, he said. Okay, yes to council entry. The Government of India Act of 1935 was there, and there were many factors leading to the act. Dissatisfaction with reforms of 1919, national movement during 1920 to 27, Delhi proposals by Muslim League, Nehru report by Congress Party, white paper by British government. And if you talk about the sources, Simon Commission report was there, and it was a great source. Other than the Simon Commission report of all parties conferences, there was Nehru report, which was not accepted by the British government. Discussion at the round table conferences also had few paperworks. The white paper, the joint select committee report, the Lothian report, all these reports were there. So, on the basis of all these reports, a kind of mindset was prepared that what kind of future strategies or constitutional remedies could come and would be implemented in India. So, a lot of dissatisfaction was there, and national movement was also going on. So, Britishers had a double pressure on them. And then Muslim League also got that Delhi proposal, because according to this Delhi proposal, what happened? Congress and Muslim League, they came together with similar demands. They thought that we will not fight alone. We will, come with the same strategy and similar demands so that we achieve things together. So Nehru report by Congress party was also there. Now, if we talk about the main features of the Government of India Act, you understand, just see the things around you. The constitution which we have today in India gets the base, like 75% is copy pasted from the Government of India Act of 1935. This you will realize once you read Lakshmikant. If you have read Lakshmikant, how many of you have completed Lakshmikant, Polity Lakshmikant book? Have you studied it? Have you read it? Yes or no? You need to tell me in the comment box. Okay, I can see you guys, and I really like when you guys interact with me live. So you need to tell me the answers in the comment box. So yes, if you have read it, you must be knowing that how important the act is and how it is related, or is it the base of Indian constitution. That you will realize if you read the polity book. Now, come to the main features. All India Federation. All India Federation was there, comprising British Indian provinces, Chief Commissioners provinces, and Indian states. Indian states means princely states. So its formation was conditional. They wanted states to join, and with the allotment of 52 seats in the Council of States, to agree to join the federation. However, they never agreed. Okay, but this condition was there. Aggregate population of states in the above category should be 50% of total population in all India states. Since these conditions were not fulfilled, so the proposed federation never came up. But look at the idea which they gave. And the government of India continued under Government of India Act of 1919 till 1946. Provincial legislature got expanded, and bicameral legislature introduced in 6 provinces: Bengal, Madras, Bombay, UP, Bihar, Assam. In all these provinces it was. And if you see, the executive and legislature, they both had different functions, and they both used to work at different levels. If we talk about the executives, there we had Governor General, and he was the pivot of the entire constitution. He had the hold and power in each and every part. So there were reserved subjects which came under the executives and the governor. So foreign affair, defense, tribal areas, and ecclesiastical affairs administered by the governor general on the advice of executive councillors. However, these executive councillors are very similar to the COM you see today, the Council of Ministers which we have today, right? So, those Council of Ministers, they are right now responsible to the central legislature, they are responsible to the Lok Sabha, but at that time, they were not responsible during the British rule. Okay, and when we talk the federal level, at the federal level or in the state level, the transfer subjects were all other, like administered by the governor general on advice of the ministers elected by the legislature. So there were some discretionary powers of governor general, and security and tranquility of India was somehow managed by the Britishers. It was said accordingly. If we talk about the legislatures, there was bicameral legislature, Council of State, and it was there direct, and Federal Assembly was also there, which was indirect. So Council of State and Federal Assembly, which is very similar to the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. So in the Council of State, it was a permanent body where one third retired members were after every 3 years. Federal Assembly had 5 years of tenure. After 5 years, fresh election, new elections could be there. And they extended religious based and class based electorates. 80% budget was non votable, so you can say that it is still of no use. Governor General had all the residuary power, so he could restore the cuts in grants, certify the bills rejected by the legislature, issue ordinances, and exercise his veto in the federal level. So, Governor General was very, very important, and he was extremely powerful. Now, here in the provincial level, what else was there? That the provincial autonomy replaced diarchy. Okay, it replaced diarchy, and the Secretary of State was also there. So, provinces given independent financial powers and resources now. Okay, so it is very important that we give powers to the states, we give finances to the states. So provincial autonomy replaced diarchy. Provinces were freed from the superintendence and the direction of SOS. Provinces had no problem. SOS was there, but SOS was not to direct anything in the provincial level. The provincial government could borrow money on their own security. Governor was like a crown nominee at the provincial level, and governor had special powers with regarding minorities, right of civil servants, law and order, British business interests, and partially excluded areas like princely states, etc. These areas were there. Now, if we talk about the legislatures, there was a separate electorate based on communal award. So, yes, the communal award was something which was not liked by Gandhiji and many other Indian leaders, because they saw it as a divide and rule policy. Directly elected members, women got the right on the same basis as men. Council of Ministers under Premier to administer provincial subjects. Ministers were made answerable to and removable by the adverse vote of legislature. 40% of budget was still not votable, and governor could refuse assent, promulgate ordinance, enact the government act. Governor had all these power, right? All these things were still there. If we talk about the nationalist response, unanimously rejected by the Congress. Okay, they said that we don't like this Government of India Act, because you are still talking about communal award, and there is no discussion about the home rule, Swaraj, complete independence, nothing. So Hindu Mahasabha and National Liberal Foundation, they declared in favor of working of 1935. They liked it. So just remember that they could ask you in prelims that who supported the Government of India Act of 1935 and why. So remember that Congress never accepted it. They rejected it unanimously. But Hindu Mahasabha and National Liberal Foundation, they declared in favor of working of 1935 Act in the central as well as at the provincial level. Now, the second stage came where Nehru, Subhash, Congress, and Socialists, they opposed office acceptance. Leftists proposed entry into the councils with an aim to uh, you know, to seize the deadlock. Here, Gandhiji in the beginning he opposed for office acceptance, but later gave approval. Congress sessions at Lucknow were there in 1936 and Faizapur in 1937. Decided to contest elections. Now, if we talk about the Congress rule in the provinces, they got victory. Of course, they were working very nicely, but they were not working for the polity or power. So Gandhiji gave advice to the office bearers that, see, you are there in the office, so use this opportunity in a way not expected or intended by the Britishers. So don't work according to the lines of Britishers and hold the office lightly, not tightly. Don't Work according to the power. Don't get diverted in your mind. So work under Congress ministries were there. They eased curbs on civil liberties, restrictions on press was lifted, political prisoners and revolutionaries got released. They lifted the ban from several illegal organizations, books, journals, and the restorations of pension of officials associated with the CDM happened. Reforms were there regarding the agrarian structure also. The Congress could not attempt a complete overhaul of the agrarian structure by completely eliminating the zamindari system. This was for two reasons. First, see, there was a lack of power. According to the constitutional structure of 1935 Act, it was deliberately made so that Indians would only get a kind of relief in their mind that they are a part of government, but they won't have power or discretions. And the lack of financial resources were also there. Lion's share of India's revenues was appropriated by the government of India. So, in UP's Tenancy Act was passed in October 1939, which gave all the statutory tenants, both in Agra and Awadh, full hereditary rights in their holdings while taking away the landlord's right to prevent the growth of occupancy. So, since a long time, the land was a big matter in this area. If we look at the 1937 point, here you see that in 1937 Yusuf Mehrali, he was a socialist leader. He was prosecuted by the Madras government for making an inflammatory speech in Malabar. In 1937, the Madras government persecuted S.S. Batliwala, another Congress social leader, for making seditious speech. So you see how government wanted to suppress those leaders. They wanted to work in this development. And the development of planning was there through National Planning Committee, which was set up under Congress President Subhash Chandra Bose in 1938. Okay. Now, this is the entire chapter which was there about the future strategy. So we have understood the future strategies. Now, the next chapter is about the nationalist response in the wake of Second World War. Because after the First World War was ended, India was quite sure to get Swaraj, which was now offered to India. But right now the struggle was for the complete independence. But before we could get independence, again Britishers got busy in the Second World War. India was again dragged into the war, and again Gandhiji had similar mindset to support Britishers the way India supported in the First World War. Because Gandhiji thought that the Britishers, if they get Indian support, they will win the war and ultimately they will benefit India. It will be modernizing India and it could develop India. So the new thing came, after the new phase, which is the Second World War. So the outbreak of Second World War happened in 1939. It evoked a variety of responses among the Indian people, which was reflected in the Congress as well. After prolonged debate, individual satyagraha got launched. Individual satyagraha from 1940 to 41, they were launched by Gandhi, but it evoked a lukewarm response. But it doesn't mean that it faded in a very short way. No, it was important. It was in 1942 the Congress launched Quit India movement, which is also known as the August Revolution. So in Haripura and Tripuri session, you will see the magic of Subhash Chandra Bose. Subhash Chandra Bose was the president of Bengal Provincial Congress Committee, and he announced the formation of Independence League, which fully endorsed Purna Swaraj decision. In the Haripura session 1938, Bose was unanimously elected president of the session, instrumental in setting up of a national planning committee later adopted a resolution that Congress would give moral support to those who were agitating against the government in princely states. Now, Haripura had been chosen for the convention by the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and Nandalal Bose, he was a well-known painter, created a set of 7 posters for Haripura session at Mahatma Gandhi's request. Remember this, it is again important for prelims art and cultural point of view. If we talk about the Tripuri session 1939, again Bose decided to stand and he got victory. So again he got the stand for the president, and Gandhiji was not happy with his ideology because Gandhiji always supported non-violence. However, Bose used to go extra constitutional sometimes. So Sardar Patel, Rajendra Prasad, J.B. Kripalani, they favored the candidate supported by Gandhi, which was Pattabhi Sitaramaiah. So Pattabhi Sitaramaiah was chosen now. The working committee was not elected but nominated by the president. So the election of president is thus a constitutional opportunity through which the membership express the nature of leadership of Congress. And that's why here again you will see that Subhash Chandra Bose was re-elected, but he had to resign because of Gandhi ji, because of the clash of ideology. He resigned and then he decided to go away and start his own way of freedom struggle with Indian National Army. So a resolution was moved by Govind Ballabh Pant, where he reaffirmed the faith in the Gandhian policies and asking Bose to nominate the working committee in accordance with the wishes of Gandhiji, he said. And it was passed without opposition from the socialists or the communists. Rajendra Prasad was appointed in his place, and Subhash Chandra Bose formed the forward bloc at Makur, now a new party within the Congress. Now, what happened that Subhash Chandra Bose he had a new arm of its own, but the way he was being very extra constitutional, he was forced to resign. So Bose called for an all India protest against an AICC resolution, All India Congress Committee. So working committee removed him because he was protesting against AICC. So they removed him from his position as president of Bengal Provincial Congress Committee and barred him from holding any Congress office for 3 years. Now, for 3 years, he had no work in the Congress. He understood that his ideology will never make these people understand the real way to get the success in this struggle. So now Congress thought that okay, we will discuss the matter of Subhash Chandra Bose later, but right now a new problem was there, which was World War II. So here Congress and so many other leaders wanted to utilize this opportunity to pressurize the Britishers and get independence for India. But in reality, the pressure was not there on the Britishers, but the pressure came on the Congress leaders themselves, because they said that if you will not give us independence, we will resign and we will start our own movement. So it would cooperate in the war effort only if freedom was given after the war. So some form of genuinely responsible government was immediately to be set up according to the Congress if Britishers wanted the Congress participants, Congress, uh, uh, you can say the support of Congress, the leaders should come with the Britishers. If Britishers wanted it, then this offer was made by the Congress. So on the 1st September 1939, World War II broke out and British declared India support for war, even even without asking Indians. They never got the consent from Indians, but they just declared. So on September 10th to 14th in 1939, at Congress Working Committee meeting at Wardha, it was discussed. So Gandhiji, for unconditional support for British efforts, wanted to go for it, and he wanted to have faith on the British rule, and he thought that once we support them in the Second World War, they will give us freedom back after the war. But Bose, he knew the reality of Britishers and he wanted to take the advantage of British difficulties and he wanted to start a mass movement. And if we talk about Nehru, they believed that justice was on the side of Britain, but he also believed that Britain was imperialist power, advocated no Indian participation till India itself was free, and no advantage of Britain's difficulty by starting an immediate civil disobedience movement. Okay, so these things were there in the mind of Nehru, and he wanted justice. He wanted, justice on the side of Britain, but he wanted no Indian participation. He just, he was just playing safe, you can say. Okay, he was just taking a midway in this situation. So Congress working resolution was there where no Indian participation was there, and they said that unless freedom is granted, we will not participate, and the government should declare its war aim soon. If Britain was fighting for democracy and freedom, it should be proved by ending imperialism in its own colonies and establishing full democracy in India. And if Britishers are participating for increasing the imperialism or increasing the exploitation, then of course Indians won't support them, because it will be clear that what kind of mindset Britishers are having. So at that time, it created a lot of pressure on the Britishers. The government was not happy about the fact that they are getting challenges from the Brit Indians. So Linglingtow's statement came. Linglingtow's statement came in October 17th, 1939, and there he tried to use the Muslim League and princes against the Congress. So we already know how Muslim League was already asking about the Pakistan and the separate state. The separatist tendencies were there. Somehow Britishers, they thought that if princes, the princely states of India, if they could also go against Congress, then Congress will be very very weak. It was their policy of divide and rule. So British war aims were to resist the aggression. All interest groups are to be consulted to modify 1935 Act for future. Immediately a consultative committee is to be formed for advising functions, and the Congress, after seeing these statements, they just rejected. They said, no, we will not support the war. Congress ministries in provinces, they decided to resign, and no immediate mass struggle to be launched, they said, because they never wanted to disturb Britishers at that time. But they said that if you are not declaring your war aims, then we won't be able to support you. Right? Now, Ramgarh's Congress session happened in 1940, where President was Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad. Civil disobedience movement was to be launched at appropriate time and circumstances. It was discussed, and then in Pakistan resolution Lahore, March 1940, they discussed something which was again very very important. Look at the Pakistan resolution. Pakistan resolution was a grouping of geographically contiguous areas where Muslims were in majority. So, northwest and the eastern part of India, where Jinnah propounded two nation theory, that India comprised of two nations, a Hindu nation and a Muslim nation. According to Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Muslim League and so many other Muslim leaders, they wanted to follow the separatist tendency of politics. They knew that if they will be part of India, their leadership quality and the values may not enrich them, and as a personality they won't get that kind of name or fame if they become a part of India. But if they go to a small nation and make a carve out a small Muslim country for themselves, there they would be able to dominate more. So it was a politics, it was a part of their politics which made them create this two nation theory in the minds of Indians. Here, when Britishers, they got irritated because of these two theories, and when they were not when they got no idea to decide about the two nation theory, the August offer came from the side of the Britishers in 1940. They said that okay, we want to offer something to the Indian leaders. If they want freedom, then what we can do is dominion status would be given. Okay, not complete independence but dominion status. The dominion status of Westminster variety to be long term objective. Okay, long term objective, but not the date was shared. After the war, Constituent Assembly to be formed comprising mainly Indians. They also offered Indians that there would be a formation of War Advisory Council. Minorities' consent to be essential for any future settlements. Congress rejected the offer, and acceptability of new constitution subject to fulfillment of British obligations such as defense, minority rights, treaties with native states, and position of all India services. For the very first time, inherent right of Indians to frame their own constitution was recognized, and Congress demanded for a constituent assembly. It was conceded. National Defense Council was set up, which was purely advisory in function. So all these things came, but Congress rejected it. Congress rejected the Augusta offer because Congress was saying that why are you talking about dominion status now? And that is also your long term strategy. We can't wait till this long. So there was a new strategy that Indians could start their own individual satyagraha. So Vinoba Bhave was the first satyagrahi, 17th October in 1940, who started. Anti-war speech was given. He gave the slogan Delhi Chalo, inaugurated at Paunar village near Wardha. After him, Jawaharlal Nehru came, who was the second satyagrahi. By May 1941. More than 25,000 satyagrahis had been arrested for offering individual satyagraha. Brahmadatta was a ashram inmate, was the third person chosen to offer an individual satyagraha. Individual satyagraha means individual heroic struggle where they wanted to lead the things as per their own will. But again, Britishers saw these things got failed, and they wanted to get some real strategies for Indians. So a new mission was sent to India, which was known as Cripps Mission, to propose new points to bring new clarity in the Indian polity. It was headed by Stafford Cripps. It was sent to India with the constitutional proposals to seek the Indian support for the war because they wanted Indians to have some, participation and to support Britishers. So an Indian Union with dominion status was formed with right to withdraw from the Commonwealth. After the war, a constituent assembly elected by provincial assemblies to frame the constitution happened. Freedom to any province unwilling to join the union to have a separate agreement with Britain, it was said, right of non accession of provinces, where provinces will not have any right to go out or stay out of India. Right of secession of provinces was also there. Protection of racial and linguistic minorities treaty we signed between His Majesty's government and the constitutional making body that will cover all matters arising out of complete transfer of responsibility from British to Indian hands. So basically, a responsible government, a transfer of power was discussed here. But if you look at the Cripps proposal, it is again talking about dominion status, which is not complete independence. So it would be rejected by the Congress again. Okay, and they said that after the war, you will make the Constituent Assembly elected by the provincial assemblies. That is fine. But there would be a freedom to any province unwilling to join the union to have a separate agreement with Britain. Means you still want to look at our areas and you still have eyes on our lands. Somehow you are still planning to penetrate and disturb Indians from inside. Meanwhile, defense of India will remain in British hands. It was said according to the Cripps proposal. And you know that defense is the most important thing. Congress objection came because dominion status was there, because right of provinces to secede was there, no immediate transfer of power was there, retention of governor general supremacy was still there. So due to all these points, Congress rejected the Cripps mission. And then Muslim League objection also happened. Muslim League was also not happy about the fact, so Pakistan not explicitly offered machinery for creation of constituent assembly. immediate context to quit India movement got started. Because of the failure of Cripps mission, now all leaders decided to start a full-fledged movement. There was wartime shortages and allied reverses and an imminent British collapse was there. Demoralization among Indians came and they somehow became very aggressive and they decided to lead a movement in a complete sense where the simple goal was there to achieve independence, nothing else. Karo ya maro, do or die, independence and only and only independence was now needed, it was now demanded. Okay, now after all these points, when they understood that this is the time where independence needs to be seeked or should be seeked, they all came together. Here, from this particular point, they will start the Quit India movement. So, it is going to be the last topic which we will discuss tomorrow. Quit India movement, demand for Pakistan and the INA. This we will discuss tomorrow 8 p.m. Okay, so this is it, guys. We have completed today's session very nicely and quickly. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any doubts. Let me know if you have any queries. You can discuss that with me. Even if you have anything from any other subject or maybe a preparation related strategy you want, and if you want to talk, you can always discuss that with me. I'm there to discuss things and resolve things for you. So here, before I end the session, you have still 2 minutes to ask your doubts. Please go through all the previous topics which we have covered and then you can ask your doubts.